Welcome back to another AEW news update as a WWE star reacts to last night's AEW Dynamite, and there's been an injury to a major AEW wrestler. All that and more coming up in today's video, but first, on his recent podcast, former WCW president Eric Bischoff spoke about AEW Dynamite's failure to gain significant ground in terms of viewership on TNT. The episode of 83 Weeks was covering TNA's pay-per-view against all odds in 2011, and when asked about comments by Chris Jericho in 2011 about TNA, where Jericho criticized the Nashville promotion for wasting their resources, even calling them a bush league, Bischoff had this to say. "I think it's going to come back to bite him in the ass is what I think. AEW last week, they did about 800,000 viewers. They opened the door with 1.5 million viewers and haven't been able to crack 1 million since, or if they have, it's only been on 1 or 2 occasions. They've essentially flatlined at 700,000 or 800,000 viewers on average for the last year and a half. That's an observation that could, unless something turns around in the next 18 months, come back to haunt someone like Chris. Quite frankly, AEW has flatlined, and it's been that way essentially for a year." And yeah, with that said, ironically, AEW would be very happy if they could match TNA's viewership from 2011. AEW will certainly have an uphill battle to grow their audience, although it would seem TNT are happy with the numbers Dynamite are drawing after extending the TV deal to 5 years earlier last year. So that gives them plenty of time to grow the audience, although it could take something quite significant to do so. On last night's episode of AEW Dynamite, AEW held the first match of the first round of the AEW Women's Eliminator tournament, which will decide the next #1 contender for Hikaru Shida's women's title. The full brackets have been released, as you can see on the screen, with Thunder Rosa advancing to the semi-finals of the United States bracket after a win against Layla Hirsch last night. It has also been confirmed that the first round of the Japan side of the tournament will take place on YouTube on Monday 15th of February. And this follows a report from Dave Meltzer that the matches will be held in the Ice Ribbon Dojo in Japan, with the current champion Hikaru Shida having a role in producing the matches. This marks the first ever set of matches sanctioned by AEW in Japan. In reference to the AEW Women's Tournament, AEW EVP Kenny Omega tweeted, "Guarantee you'll see some incredible matches in this thing." Let me know in the comments down below who you think will be crowned #1 contender. Last night on AEW Dynamite, the Inner Circle have officially lost a member. OG of the group Sammy Guevara confronted MJF, accusing him of taking over the group. This led to MJF playing an out-of-context clip which made out Guevara hates Chris Jericho before Sammy threw Maxwell's phone off the wall before punching him in the ribs. This led to MJF having to wear tape around his ribs for his tag team match, which saw himself and Chris Jericho defeat the Acclaimed. The match finish saw Chris Jericho pin Max Caster after a Judas effect took the rapper out. Afterwards, Sammy Guevara headed to the ring during the Inner Circle's celebration, confirming that he has quit the group before blowing off an interview with Alex Marvez, telling him that he needs some time away. This follows various storyline disagreements between MJF and Sammy, with the former seemingly trying to split the group apart, and so far, it's working. It now seems that Sammy Guevara is set for a babyface run, likely leading to a match with MJF somewhere down the line, potentially at AEW Revolution next month. And if you're enjoying the video so far, why not help me out and drop a like down below, and also subscribe as we try to reach 10,000 subscribers. But let's get back to the news. On last night's New Japan New Beginning show in Hiroshima, Kota Ibushi successfully defended his IWGP Heavyweight and Intercontinental Championships against LIJ's Sanada. After the match, the leader of the LIJ faction, Tetsuya Naito, strolled to the ring to issue a challenge to Ibushi. As to prevent Ibushi from unifying the titles, Naito challenged Ibushi for only one of his belts rather than both. The two are set to go one-on-one for the Intercontinental Championship at some point in the future, a title that has been close to Naito's story arc within New Japan. The next big New Japan event is the 2-night Castle Attack on February 27th and 28th in Osaka-jo Hall, so this will likely be when the match will occur. The two have fought this year already on night 1 of Wrestle Kingdom 15, where Ibushi was crowned double champion. Ryan Nemeth made his second appearance on AEW Dynamite this week in a losing effort to Pac, with him eventually tapping out to the Brutalizer after getting struck by a black arrow. Ryan's brother Nick, known to many as Dolph Ziggler of WWE fame, reacted to his brother's defeat on Twitter, posting a close-up of his sibling's face as he was choked out by his opponent. So a good bit of brotherly fun there from Dolph. And this is one of multiple tweets from Dolph Ziggler in reference to his brother's appearance in AEW, seemingly trying to bring more eyes on his brother's matches. This was Ryan's third taped AEW match, currently sitting with a record of 1 win, 2 losses. He lost his first match to Hangman Page 2 weeks ago on Dynamite, before beating Marco Stunt on this week's edition of AEW Dark in under 4 minutes. Ryan Nemeth has previously been in the WWE developmental system, training with the then WWE affiliated Ohio Valley Wrestling and Florida Championship Wrestling. He was also briefly part of the NXT brand before being released, never making it to the main roster. The main event of AEW Dynamite saw New Japan's KENTA make his in-ring debut in the Chaotic Falls Count Anywhere tag team match, where he teamed with Kenny Omega to battle Lance Archer and his upcoming opponent Jon Moxley. During his entrance, Jon Moxley carried the IWGP United States Championship belt with him, which is the first time the title has been seen on AEW television. The match took place everywhere but in the ring, with the 4 men fighting all over the arena. The finish of the match saw the Good Brothers interfere, even striking Jake Roberts in the process. Jon Moxley then intercepted any further damage to the wrestling legend as he brought a barbed wire baseball bat into play, stopping a V-trigger by Kenny Omega. KENTA then hit the ring, taking Moxley out with the GTS before brawling at ringside. Lance Archer was then pinned in the ring following a one-winged angel by Omega. The show closed with Excalibur saying the forbidden door has been kicked open. As we said in our last video, this show was reportedly taped last Thursday, therefore no big debuts were likely to happen. This means we still haven't seen any more Bullet Club members show up in All Elite Wrestling, although that is something that we should expect to see over the coming weeks. Also, just to note, KENTA did not celebrate with Omega and friends, as he was still busy brawling with Moxley on the outside. And finally, on last night's AEW Dynamite, Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson defeated Pretty Peter Avalon and Cesar Bononi. During the match, Cody has seemingly been injured. He is said to have picked up a slight tear of his left rotator cuff, which is a shoulder injury. This was confirmed on Arn Anderson's Coach's Corner, although it is currently not clear if this knock is legit or a storyline. Cody posted an injured emoji on his Twitter page after Dynamite went off air, with Rhodes scheduled to team with Red Velvet to take on Shaq and Jade Cargill on March 3rd. Depending on the severity of the injury, he could be required to undergo surgery, which could see the match be postponed. And make sure you stay tuned to the channel for any further updates on the situation.